Genius Brain listeners, this podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. My friends, think about your mental health and do it with BetterHelp. Therapy should feel accessible, not a luxury, and that's why BetterHelp can save you up to an average of 50% per session compared to traditional in-person therapy. So what are you waiting for? I have benefited from therapy for a very long time. I'm still working on myself, and I always have BetterHelp in my back pocket whenever I need them. So my friends, with over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform. So once again, what are you waiting for? Your well-being is worth it. Visit betterhelp.com/genius today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp, HELP.com/genius. It's a culture of bullshit now, right? And so like, even now too, like when I see a lot of these like younger actors and they're like, oh, this is the top actors. Like, this is what we got. They're not even that good. They're like, okay, at best, right? But then when I hear them talk about shit, it's like, oh, you like being an actor. You don't like acting. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Genius Brain Podcast. We are in the studio back with the Robin Couch. If you guys don't know who Robin Couch is, you're a stupid idiot. She is wow. She's fantastic. And if you have been an OG fan of this podcast, this was the original studio. They upgraded. So now I have a seat where that won't hurt my back. And so we're back here, baby. I don't give a shit. Fantastic.
It's no longer dudes behind the dudes.
Yeah. It's Genius Brain with David So. And now we have Ed Park, VP here, of course, also known as Manga Miata. Have you done anything new with the car?
Yeah, I fucking cracked my bumper. Like,
how?
I took a step backwards. I was in a rush to get to another garage literally today. Yeah. Literally an hour before I got here. And then I should have saw the train tracks, but I didn't. And then those train tracks, bomb. I like the Miata nose is pretty long, comes up front, smashed it, fucking bumper cracked in half in the front lip. The tabs on the fenders, my white body fenders, cracked.
How much is it fixed like that?
Oh, I can probably fix it with some fiberglass and some epoxy and then sand it down. That just means I have to repaint everything. And that's all like outside of my auto technician. Yeah, that I have to take that to a body shop kind of thing. I mean, like I could do it myself. It's gonna look like shit, but it's one of those things. When something breaks, I choose to be excited about it breaking
because I get to try something new, right?
So I just learned how to do a power balance test, a compression test, and other tests, and I found out that my car has low compression, which means all of my piston rings are bad, because it's leaking air in between them. So I'm losing about 80 pounds of compression.
Oh, shit.
Right? So I'm not getting anywhere near like, look, 100 horsepower is not enough.
Yeah.
I'm getting way less than that. I didn't even know. But that's one of those things like, oh, like I have to get in there. Yeah. But if I do that, I have to rebuild the entire engine.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I'm going to be excited about that. I'm not going to be mad or angry. This is exactly why I got this car.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to fuck it up, swallow that shit and just fucking fix it. That's the whole reason why I got that car.
I mean, the cool thing is that for you, every time something you have to fix is something that you add to your skill set, which is kind of cool because obviously and at least it's your car. Yeah. Right. So you're not going to do it to somebody else's shit. You're like, oh, I know what to fucking do. Because every time I watch, if you guys watch this on like YouTube, there's this guy called Buddy's DIY and Chris Fix. They talk about stuff as if it's common knowledge sometimes. And I'm like, dude, I don't even know like half the terms that you're saying, but I love watching their shit. Because for them, they're like, yeah, I'm going to teach you how to flip a car. And they start doing things. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Right. The beauty of YouTube is the editing. You're not going to see the hours that they took into fixing it or figuring out what the problem was.
That's the hard part.
Did they ever get to the point where they're doing diagnostics on those channels?
So they'll do like they're like, this is what you need to get to do a regular diagnostic. And so they'll talk about, oh, the ball joint here is all messed up. And so you got to get these parts to fix it. But then I'm just like, what's the name of that part?
Yeah. And then you learn like it's part of the secrets of the trade, right? You don't want to give all that information out, then you're losing out on like money. Like one of my future ideas was to flip Priuses. And I saw he posted a video of how to replace a Prius battery. I'm like, oh, well, everybody knows how to do it now, right? But then, no, in actuality, it's a lot of work. Like I'm taking electronics class right now, and I'm literally learning how battery works.
I saw, was it the Prius that was red that they did a flip on?
I can't recall.
There was a guy who did a Prius flip, right? And the thing that it needed the most, obviously a lot of the stuff on these fixes that you guys find is literally cosmetic, right?
Yeah.
But the Prius, after X amount of miles for this type of model, the battery has to be replaced.
Yes.
He did a step-by-step, it was like an hour video. I was like, never. I will never do that. Are you fucking, and he goes, make sure you remember that these parts specifically clamp. If you don't have this, you're pretty much screwed. And I'm like, okay, that's a pressure I don't want. Like I have issues. I had to build planners yesterday. That shit took me 3 hours. I was like, "There's no fucking way." And then the electronic parts and the wiring, remembering where everything goes, is the part that gives me anxiety and stresses me out. So I can't do it.
I literally just applied for a job at another shop, and then he was asking me questions. He was like, "What are you looking to do?" Right? And then I was like, "Well, I don't want to like race or drift or anything. I just want to fix cars." He's like, "Okay, but what specifically?" And then I just said the hardest thing I can come to mind. I said electronics, because it is tough, but that's the future of everything. It was like just the answer he was looking for.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's like, because most mechanics now are like, they didn't go to school for like hybrid technology or EV technology. And we're learning that stuff. You know?
That was the hard part when I had the Tesla. So when I got a Tesla, that's like when nobody had Teslas, right? And taking it to a body shop to do work on it was fucking impossible because they're like, sorry, it's aluminum. I don't want to touch it. They just didn't want to touch it. So there was like one out in like Burbank that would do it. And it took them fucking forever because not because of them, they couldn't get parts.
Yeah.
So they were just waiting and waiting. They were updating me every week. I was like, hey, dude, you don't even got to update me every week, man. Like, I get it. Like, he goes, I just feel bad. So they had a whole, at the time, for like specific Tesla parts, because there wasn't that many, and then it started picking up, it was just all these parts were gone.
Yeah.
It took 6 months to get my car back.
But
and
you got it like in 2018?
Yeah, it was like
way back when.
Way back. Now it's easy, right? But back in the day, you couldn't do anything. Robin, is the AC being on going to be a problem?
No, it shouldn't, but I can turn it off if you're cool.
No, if it's not going to be a problem, that's okay. It feels great.
Cool.
No, we're good.
Yeah. But yeah, when I was looking to fix that car, it was a good life lesson for me too. Specifically, like learning not to adopt new technology. Like wait for it to be around a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I had to hard reset my car like a computer.
Right.
Because it would freeze. They don't have a lot of those issues now, but then I was that first jump into that realm.
Yeah.
And then from my mistakes and a lot of the troubleshooting that it gets sent to the company, they fixed all these issues.
There's a big difference between like people who get Teslas or EVs in general and people who are just getting still gas-powered cars. And I realize it's like people who buy into EVs are people who never gave a shit about what kind of car they drove anyway.
Yes.
Because it's just like an iPhone on wheels. It's a piece of tech on wheels. And that's how they try to, like categorize themselves too as a tech company. That's why there's all these fix-it-yourself laws being fought over in every state because Tesla doesn't want other people to fix their cars. They want you to take it back to Tesla.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing. Like if I were to give somebody advice about buying into a Tesla, you're not buying into luxury. It is not a luxury car. Nothing about inside the car or anything, none of that stuff feels luxury.
Very plain.
Yes, you are buying tech.
Yeah.
So it's luxury tech, not a luxury car. And if you want to really understand that, go into a Tesla, get into the Model S. Really cool, very spaceship, like right, feel the seats, whatever. Then go over into a 7 Series BMW, sit in that car.
That may cost the same price, right? Like even the 5 Series, those are built excellent. There was a guy we know, he was super excited to show me his new Model Y. And then I just sat in there and he took me up the 110 and I'm like, whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's quiet. It goes really fast off the line. That's cool. But then it's completely silent. And I'm like, okay, then I'm an old head in that way. I need to hear the engine roar.
Yeah. Like I enjoy Teslas for
gas savings.
I'll put it like this. I wouldn't only just want a Tesla.
Right.
I would like it in the car lineup that I have, but I would like the other car. There's also things that I just don't like. There are things that I say are different, but not an improvement. Having everything stuck in a center console that doesn't tilt your way is by far the most annoying fucking thing ever. You have to get an aftermarket piece installed so it rotates towards you.
Oh, gosh.
I dislike that everything has to be done through a screen.
Yeah.
Tactile knobs, the reason why they're fantastic, I don't have to look at it. I do this. and then we're good to go.
Not having a volume knob is such a fucking buzzkill.
It's stupid.
It's stupid. Like Honda for the 2010s didn't have a volume knob.
Yeah.
It was all push up and down.
They went back.
Yeah, they had to go back. Like, and even the newer Teslas now have a knob, right, for at least the volume.
That's why for me, like, because I think a lot of people asked when I was going in between the RAV4 Prime and a Model Y, they were like, well, the Model Y is a little cheaper, blah, blah, blah. I was like, there's a couple of reasons why I went for the RAV4 Prime. Number one, suspension was way better.
Yeah.
I don't feel shit on the road.
My sister complains about her Model Y's suspension. It's just too stiff.
Way too stiff. Number two, it's more elevated, right?
Yeah.
Number three, there's actually physical fucking knobs, which I really, really appreciated.
Yeah.
I loved it very fucking much. And the biggest thing was that the RAV4 Prime, if you do a charge in a full tank, is 550 miles before I have to fill up.
Right.
Like, you're not going to beat that. And on top of that, to fill up my car was like $38, $35 for 550 miles. So it was a no-brainer for me.
And it's a Toyota.
And it's a Toyota.
Like, you're going to get the reliability and you're going to get the customer satisfaction that everyone talks about. Like, you'll get those. There's not going to be like a limited number of parts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was also, I think the trunk space was bigger too. There's just a lot of like better benefits to it.
Yeah.
But 550 miles for $35 is pretty unreal.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the cool thing about how Toyota saw the market, especially the American market. Why don't they have multiple electric cars? They have one electric car, but all of their cars are hybrids.
Yeah.
Because they saw like, wait, hybrid technology in America is actually a bit more practical than jumping straight to EV right now. There's not enough charging stations.
You know, it's so funny. It's like a random story, but I remember like when I first got my driver's license, I got it at 18, right? Because my dad wouldn't let me drive. The stipulation was for me to get my license at 16 was that I would have to get good grades. Impossible. That he fucking got my ass. I was like, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So when I was 18, because I had to go help at the store, it just didn't make sense for my dad to take me places.
Yeah.
I have a car. I can go pick up food, whatever they need. So I got my license. First thing I do, obviously, there's a girl that I like, you know, driving her around. You know what happened, dude? I ran over an old guy. So this is what happened. So we have this Isuzu Trooper. I fucking love that car, by the way, right? He didn't die, but I was in the parking lot of an Albertsons, and then I was talking to her as we're looking for a parking spot because we're going to grab something real quick. We're supposed to like go to do a picnic or whatever. Yeah. And then I was looking at her this way, and I had my foot off of the brake pedal. And it started inching forward, and then I heard a doo-doo, and then you see like an 80-year-old man, and he has his cane, and he's hitting my truck. Hey, pull up. Oh shit! And I was like, sir, I am so sorry. He goes, what the fuck is wrong with you? I was like, are you okay? He goes, yeah, I'm fine. You fucking idiot. I was like, dude, I'm on a date right now. And I just fucking got nervous. He's like, fucking young men, you fucking just horny little bastards. Like, just fucking pay attention. I just had to take it. You know what I mean? He didn't get hurt. He just was like, he just got nudged onto the car. Yeah. But that was so fucking embarrassing, dude.
Dude, speaking of last time I was here, and after we finished recording, and I was going home, and there's a ramp going towards Pasadena, there was a guy just not parked, he was stopped, but because there's traffic. And then I guess he was looking at his phone, so he wasn't moving. So I just cut in front of him. Easy peasy, right?
Yeah, well, that's what you would do.
He started chasing me. This guy started freaking out, honking, trying to rush me off the road. And it was just this Armenian dude in a suit, in a really nice E-Class.
Always an Armenian dude in an E-Class, dude.
He rolls down his window, and I roll down mine, and I start doing the Hulk Hogan thing, like, let me hear it, right? He goes, you stupid fucking Asian, learn to drive! And I was just like, I started laughing because, well, in a sense, I wanted to, like, mock his accent. Yeah. But that makes me no better than him as well.
I would go that route, though.
Yeah. And then I just started laughing in his face, and I let him go. Yeah. Trust me, like, in the years before, I think I might have done something crazy too, but thanks to therapy, I learned to laugh it off and just keep driving.
Let me tell you something, dude. Like, when I lived in Glendale, it was one of the listen, it's not like I don't have Armenian friends. Yeah. But none of you motherfuckers warned me about this shit. So Armenian people, if you guys talk to like Armenian folks in LA, there are categories of Armenians, right? And I learned this living in Glendale. A lot of Armenians outside of Glendale hate the Glendale Armenians, right? Because they have asshole tendencies.
Yeah, they behave a certain way.
Certain old school Russian way, right? Like kind of like mafia type of shit.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know this, right? Because all the Armenian people I know are fucking nice as shit, but they don't live in Glendale.
Yeah.
Right? So they're just like, oh, you're moving to Glendale, huh? I'm like, I didn't know what that meant. And I may have talked about this in an old podcast, but literally the day that I'm moving in to this apartment in Glendale, in the city of Glendale, before you move anything, you have to go to the city and then you have to get a parking pass for the moving trucks. Right. There's signs up, whatever. I paid money for this. It was like $200. So they, it's there.
Yeah.
And then we have a moving truck and this guy, Armenian dude in a Mercedes, just parks his car right there. And then I get out and then the moving people who are also Armenian, they're like, what the fuck? I was like, don't worry, guys. I'm going to go talk to him. I go out. I was like, hey, brother, that's my name. We paid for this spot. We have a truck here, so can you move your car? And there's cars behind us honking us because they're pissed because we have a huge moving truck. And the guy goes, whatever. I don't remember exactly what he did now, but he was just like, fuck you. And then he just like, by the way, I was moving for like 6-7 hours. Mariel was so mad at me because she gets disappointed when she sees this type of stuff. And, I understand. I got so fucking mad. I socked out his side view mirror and I tried to rip his fucking door open. And this guy fucking freaked the fuck out. Yeah. I was raging out. He could have called the cops on me.
Yeah.
I fucking started like, you said that fucking video of that guy punching the window, but it's on beat. I started freaking the fuck out. So I literally socked this guy's side view mirror out and I started flipping the fuck out on him. I think he got scared in hindsight now because those Armenian dudes in the truck also came out. Right? Because they were pissed too. And so that guy fucking just jetted and he left. Nothing happened. He didn't call the cops. I was expecting him to call the cops or something was happening, but he never came back. But that's like the type of shit. It's like, I was super nice.
I think there's an Instagram called Only in Glendale.
Okay, there it is then.
And it's like mostly Armenians. I think the joke is just Armenian car crashes.
Yeah. There's some weird shit, dude. You want to hear this?
Why do we get the bad vibes for being bad drivers,
Dude. I was telling a buddy of mine who lives in Glendale now about like the whole Armenian mafia thing. It's like I don't think it's a conspiracy. There's something that they have there, right? So he was in his apartment and there was a car accident and this is the mall. He's like in those upstairs apartments at the mall. So car crash happens, right? At an intersection, cops come by. He can't hear what's happening, but bunch of Armenian dudes dressed nice come out. They talk to the cop. The cop tells them to go. They just leave. And then he says, you just hear the person who was in the other car screaming at the cop because why did they just let that guy go? And he's like, bro, you're right. There's some fucking mafia shit going on here. So I don't know what connection is in Glendale that everybody knows about, but he witnessed it for himself that they have something. Yeah. It's pretty fucking nuts.
Speaking of Teslas as well, have you seen how people are hiding their logos?
Because of Elon?
Yeah, they're rebadging it to like Mazda because it kind of does look like a Mazda in the back.
Yeah.
And like rebadging it to say Honda or whatever. And then there's like bumper stickers that say, I bought this before Elon went crazy. And so Kia, an official Kia like Norway post, advertised their EV and they put a bumper sticker said, I bought this because Elon went crazy.
That's so funny.
And it went viral for a sec and they deleted it.
Genius Brain listeners, this podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. Mental health is mental wealth, as I always say. So let's talk about these numbers. Traditional in-person therapy can cost anywhere from $100 to $250 per session. But with BetterHelp, you can save an average of up to 50% per session. Don't let the guap stop you from getting that mental health good for this year. With BetterHelp, you can pay a flat fee for weekly sessions, saving you big on cost and time. And time is money, and that's where BetterHelp can come in because therapy should not feel like a luxury. It should be accessible. Thank you, BetterHelp. Listen, I've benefited from therapy for a very, very long time, and BetterHelp has always been there for me. I have it right in my back pocket, and guess what? I can switch therapists at any time because much like anything in life, not everything is a perfect fit the first time, so you could go ahead and figure out which therapist works for you. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. So yes, it is very, very convenient. Your well-being is worth it. Visit betterhelp.com/genius today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/genius. You know what's so fucking funny is like, I bet you politically they don't care. They just know it's a viral moment.
Yeah, it's a viral moment.
They don't really give a shit. It's so funny too with like, we're going to talk about the DOGE stuff in this podcast anyways, but I am very tired now of showmanship activism. And it's becoming very exhausting. Like, so for example, there was this thing about, February 28th, right? Make sure that you guys don't shop at all on February 28th to show these corporations and these big companies what's up.
I didn't know about this.
Exactly.
What is it, a boycott of consumerism?
Yes. So they were trying to make this, I got it sent by a bunch of people, right? And so just for fucking fun, I'll find the clip and maybe I'll put it in here. There was one of the bigger ones was Target, right? People were boycotting Target. They're like, on this day, make sure you don't shop at Target. I went to Target that day because I had to get stuff for the baby. Packed.
Right.
Shit was fucking packed. We're talking about in Los Angeles.
So this is just like, do you think other people saw these posts and were just like
reposting
whatever?
It. Like, make sure we say fuck you to these corporate. None of you did it. None of you did it. I mean, what's the point of this, man?
Yeah. How? I don't understand how. What was it for? Was it just to say, hey, we want to be socialists? or
there was something that Target did. I forgot what it was. Robin, do you know it?
Honestly, the performative, like, social media activism pisses me off too, so I'm hesitant to look into it very much. I don't know that much. I can look it up.
Whatever. Fuck it. I don't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But it was something along those lines, right? The stuff that people are said about corporate greed or whatever.
Yeah.
And nobody followed through, and it was just all posts, right? So it's just like, listen, what's the point of this shit, dude? You know what I mean? Like, I don't really get it. And now we're at the part, well, we can now talk about like the stuff that's happening with DOGE. I will say this. If you are a person that can't say DOGE is uncovering some crazy shit and also Elon Musk is retarded in the same sentence, I think there's a problem with you because two things can be true at once.
Yeah.
I have seen, watching him makes me so nervous. Like he just did a interview with, it was like Fox. Of course, it's always Fox, right? Yeah. And just him sitting there and he's like trying to make these jokes, like these meme jokes. And
it's cringy.
It's so fucking cringy, right? Yeah. He goes, oh yeah, shots fired. And then he shuts it off and then he gets very serious. So what it's like is he's an alien.
Yeah.
Him and Zuckerberg are fucking aliens. I'm not letting that go. There's a meme of him saying like, hey, watch how a sim moves and watch Elon.
I saw that one. From the sim video game.
Yes.
Like the green diamond.
He literally moves like a sim. It is fucking insane.
And he's the one who's always projecting like, yo, we live in a simulation. It doesn't look like you're breaking out of it, bro.
With his, he has like 14 kids or some shit.
Yeah.
He's trying to repopulate the earth.
Yeah. I mean, that's like it's weird to talk about another man's sexual habits, but for me, that just keeps reminding me of this Law and Order SVU episode with Uncle Jesse. What's his name?
Oh, John Stamos.
John Stamos. Did we talk about this before?
No.
So basically, by the end of the episode, these women keep showing up to the precinct with these kids, right? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, there's like 50 to 100 kids there. Like, where have you been? Your son misses you, or da-da-da. And then the SVU team is like, what the hell is this? He's like, yes, these are all my children. Because his character is like this really wealthy man who travels the world. And his whole, I don't know if it's a kink, but this belief that because he's such a genius and he makes so much money, he must repopulate the earth with more of him.
That's his duty.
Yeah. And
it's a God complex.
Yeah. And so do you hear about this conservative blogger that he had sex with and she just had his baby?
What the fuck?
And he's trying to suppress it. Like, he's really trying to keep it down under wraps. But then he announced he just had another baby with another woman a couple weeks ago, right?
Oh, wow.
But there's Ashley St. Clair. Like, they boned, and she's claiming that's yours. Yeah.
I mean, they'll see when the kid talks like a robot.
Yeah.
It's like, this is my kid's xylophone. You know what I mean? He names his kids and shit.
And who's Grimes?
Grimes.
She's getting so much shit for having babies with this guy. And it's like, that's kind of fucked up to go after a mother that way.
Also, too, Grimes is weird, too.
Yeah.
So, but why wouldn't she? That kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Them being together made sense.
But when he was at CPAC with that chainsaw, and he was like, "Yo, like make comedy legal." It's like, first, when was it illegal? What you mean to say is, let me say the F word.
Yeah.
It's
so weird to watch him because I see him. he is now the nerd that gets to be the cool guy, is what it feels like, right? So people are laughing at his jokes that nobody would laugh at before, right? They're kind of like bending to that will a little bit.
Nobody wants to say, like, loser.
Shut the fuck up, loser.
Because he has all the money in the world.
Yeah.
So when you call him like a loser, a lame, someone's going to be like, how much money do you have?
I hate
what
that.
What color is you, Bugatti?
Yeah.
Right? That kind of Andrew Tate shit. Speaking of, those motherfuckers are in America now. I guess they're not going to face their justice for the weird sex trafficking shit they were up to.
Yeah, I guess like they couldn't find anything on it. So it didn't happen. So I don't know what's going on with that. I haven't even read into it. I'm just kind of over them.
Well, it's the people who want to take down the people who are part of the Jeffrey Epstein files.
Yeah.
Which that's another whole little load. Like, why haven't they released that? Yada yada. Because some other people's names are on there.
This is a very good
yet they're okay. They're cool. They're happy that the Tate brothers are back in America.
Here's the weird thing too, right? So like, I know like it's such a weird space to be in now. Like, I'm very much over politics. We don't really talk about politics here.
Yeah.
Like I said, mainly because I just don't know what's going on. And every time I tap into it though, it's just like this, it's social media warfare is all that it is now, right?
Culture war.
Culture wars. And it's people are getting a little smarter now, hopefully, where they start to understand like, oh, this has nothing to do with what's best for us. It's what's best for your party. And so I'm getting a little tired of it, right? Like, we've seen now the trend where every time there's a new president, whether it was Trump, whether it was Biden, whether it was it didn't matter. What happens right when they go into office? The world is falling apart.
Yeah.
It's like, how convenient every time that happens, right? And like one of the biggest things that got exposed was, and you haven't heard about it in a while because it did get exposed, that like all these planes are failing. And then you look at the data, the least amount of accident crashes has been in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, the data has been out, but why is it getting highlighted now? It's just like this weird type of like games that people play. I don't like this type of stuff, right? It also doesn't make the like, why are you trying to make the public feel unsafe just for your political gains? Like, and I'm not saying
to say, oh, Trump's fucking up.
If it was the other way around, Republicans would have done the same shit.
Yeah.
They would have done, and they did the same shit when Biden went to office. So it's like, I don't care for this, you know?
Yeah. For me, it's like, I truthfully get emotionally riled up whenever I read the terrible news that's out there. And for me, with the Elon shit is because, he bothers the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
And for me to call him a retard while him being a millionaire or billionaire is, an oxymoron.
Yeah.
Right? And so the thing is, the only thing I can say about him is, and why it makes me upset, is because he's a fucking liar.
Yeah.
Because he knows all of his followers aren't going to even ask Grok if he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
Because if you fact check all of Elon's tweets, mostly lies. Like right now, he's advocating for the white farmers that are being massacred in South Africa. Not true.
Yeah.
It's not even a thing.
Yeah.
This extreme political party of whites in South Africa are blaming all the black people and saying that they're murdering them. Now, granted, one of their leaders did say, like, kill white people at a political rally.
Okay.
Yeah. But the cases he's talking about are just crimes. It could have been white on white, or it was literally not. It was just these farmers that's like get attacked.
Yeah, and that kind of runs into the issue of like how somebody views themselves without looking at how the rest of the world views them, right? And what I mean by that is that for Elon Musk and his autistic ass self, he's like, oh, I'm just being the guy that I always am. Sorry, dude, you're now a part of the government.
Yeah.
Right? So now you're seated in position. You can't say crazy shit like that that's not verified because people look at you as like a political figure now. It's different. If you're some random fuck saying that on Twitter and you're a nobody, that's just shit that goes out into the ether.
Yeah.
Right? But because of who you are and you don't fact check your own things and you have a fact checking program, like that's stupid. It's very problematic.
I mean, it upsets me personally too, because I don't want Tesla to go under.
Yeah.
My mom has stocks in that shit, because I advised her to get it. And then this guy's acting like a fucking Nazi. Hey, by the way, my heart goes out to you. Palm open.
Yeah.
Palm up. For fuck's sake. Okay? And people say, oh, it's not. Dude, he was emphatic with biting his lip, like that. You know, and so I'm like, okay, what can you do about that? I'm upset. I can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I just have to, I can only control myself and how I feel about it. And far from, what do you call it, disassociating myself from that, far from, let me not read the news. No, the news is important.
Yeah.
It's to ground myself in how I react to the news. So like, the things you say with like DOGE exposing these things,
Yeah.
right? The biggest ones that he says aren't true.
Yeah.
Transgender mice,
Yeah.
not true. It's transgenetic.
Yeah.
Did you see that report?
No.
They keep pronouncing that they spent hundreds of millions of dollars to make mice transgender.
Yeah.
And Trump said it at the fucking State of the Union.
Yeah.
Not true. It's transgenetic. And that has to do with a whole lot of genetic testing that helps fight diseases like cancer. You know, all those sorts of things. Yes, we test on mice.
I think the problem that, once again, like parties kind of run into is that for certain things that should be bipartisan, it just kind of gets floated past, right? So I did read that, but there are also stuff on DOGE when I went on the website and I kind of looked into it myself. It's like the misallocation of money and just going, we don't know where it went. Or it's been going to this, and then we don't know what's happening, right? And you could fact check everything they put on Doge. Some of them are a little precarious. Some of them are very real, right?
But they took down the website that had all the data that said here's where the money's going.
Yeah.
So the thing with I said it last time.
Yeah.
$50 million towards condoms in Gaza.
Yeah.
Right. Which is utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's so much condoms that what would you even do with it?
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't true.
Yeah.
It wasn't a real thing. And I feel dumber for having believed it, you know? And so when you go to the website, they wiped it off.
Mm-hmm.
The graph that said how much they're spending, it was like worldwide, $7 million on condoms. Worldwide.
But there's also, for example, the Social Security fraud, which was fucking huge, right?
And that's also a lie. That was also a lie, yes. And they keep saying, look, dead people made money. And then he said it again at the State of the Union. It's a fucking lie. Yes, there's like ages of people that are there, right? But those people don't get money. It's based off of software, SAC or something, SAC. It's software that they use and how it's whatever in the computer and all that data, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, when people die, the money's not being allocated to them, you know? And then someone who used to work in that says, I don't think Elon understands how this software works. And Elon replies, you don't understand, you retard. And then Elon got the community note. Yes, it is that software. You know?
I think what I'm talking about too is that I think he mentioned, because I just read about this where it was like, he is criticizing like the software, right? And so in terms of where the money is allocated, it's like, if that's the case, right? They go, but where is the money then, right? And that's the part that's kind of not syncing up. So from what I read from that, like he understands it's a software issue, right? He goes like, it's like basically an old prime that hasn't been running very well. He goes, well, if that's true, then show me where the money is if it didn't go anywhere. And that's what they're having trouble finding. They can't find the dollars.
Yeah.
So that's where.
Then do that.
So the idea of it isn't like, I think how he phrased it was, it's not so much like corruption of people stealing money. It's inefficiency all around, and you cannot allocate the dimes and dollars. And so these audits are happening, and everybody's saying, I don't know.
See, and he says, I suspect it's fraud.
Yeah.
I suspect it's fraud. And on X, he'll just say, it's fraud, it's fraud, it's fraud, matter of fact.
I'm talking
but
about
he doesn't know that.
Yeah.
There's no evidence of it. Like in the same way there's no evidence of where the money's going, then there's also no evidence of saying that's fraud. To that point, then someone should be prosecuted. Why isn't anyone in handcuffs? Why isn't anyone in jail?
So he did a Rogan podcast where he was talking about this. And
yes, and there's a lot of fact checks on that Rogan podcast. And as I was listening, and I'm getting upset, I'm like, this guy's literally, I watched videos from lawyers who are suing DOGE and the government on this stuff. And it's like, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie. I'm sure they're sprinkled in with truths the same way he said, yeah, US aid does a bit of good, but a majority of it is fraud, you know? And like him calling Lutheran missionaries criminals and fraudsters.
Yeah.
The fuck is that?
I'm waiting for things to like, I want to know, because like these things are being like, for example, we could go right into like the Epstein stuff, right? I still don't understand why this shit's not released. Like, somebody's being protected, and I want to know who.
Okay.
Because that shit is so obnoxious to me, because that was the promise. Like, once I'm in, we're going to release it all. The JFK files, all this stuff. I'm still waiting.
You know, me listening to all that Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I'm getting all of that news from Candace Owens. Sprinkled in all of that shit is Candace Owens's, you know, other stuff. And boy, does she not like Israel.
Yeah.
Right? And her theory or allegation, I would say, the way she says it, is that Jeffrey Epstein, actually, I've heard this from other people too. Jeffrey Epstein is part of like something with FBI / Mossad. Like, Mossad is Israeli CIA, like Central Intelligence. Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah.
Her father was like a Mossad agent, correct? And so they're saying that Jeffrey Epstein's entire operation was blackmail for Israel to capture all the most top influential people in science and finance and even philanthropy.
Oh, shit.
Celebrities, all the biggest people, to blackmail them, record them, catch them to do and say these things, you know. And that's kind of the reason why you look at Israel like, why do they carry so much favor from our country?
Yeah.
Right? Why them? Like, well, blackmail.
Yeah.
They're all being blackmailed. Like, the first time Jeffrey Epstein was prosecuted, convicted, all of that, he was under house arrest.
Yeah.
And then he got off. And then there was like a huge like backlash against the prosecutor of that. And he had to say it came from someone higher up to, hey, because it was all part of some, CIA, FBI, Mossad shit. Except I don't know why our country would be okay with that shit, but the not releasing names are trying to protect the victims. No, they're trying to protect the perpetrators on their side.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Of course, it's Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah.
But clear as day, we've all seen the photos of Trump with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
They were good friends.
Yeah.
They were close friends. You can't fucking tell me that, you know, Trump isn't involved with that shit.
Yeah.
You can even ask Grok or ChatGPT, like, who are the 3 most detrimental people, you know, causing problems to our country right now?
Yeah.
Either or, they'll say Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and the third could be whoever.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think I got Kim Jong-un from ChatGPT. From Grok, I got like, I think it was some other tech person or whatever.
Yeah, like ChatGPT and Grok and all this AI stuff, it depends on where they aggregate data.
Yeah.
So when you guys use like ChatGPT, you can't use it as a for everything to be factual.
Yeah.
Because it'll allocate the data unless you guys choose to let ChatGPT know where they allocate the data.
And then you have to ask them why. Why did you come up with this answer? Why would you say
And
so?
they'll give you the sources. And so for me, when I do ask my ChatGPT stuff, it now knows never to source stuff from Reddit. Because Reddit is one of the biggest sources that ChatGPT allocates from, because it's such a huge data bank of like users. So immediately now, anything that I get from ChatGPT is not from Reddit. So I go, when you aggregate data, never take it from Reddit and only use verified sources. But now too, there's like this idea too of like, are verified sources even verified? Who's verifying the verified sources? So now too, like we're in like this world of really understanding where you're getting your information from, and you have to be really, really smart about it. Because even the stuff that we talk about now, the next week the data changes. The week after the data changes. It always changes. We could say something very definitively now, and then a few weeks later, they're like, actually, they were lying about that. And then that's why in this podcast, you always see like new updates every time, right? Nothing is really cemented here because I'm only based on what was currently said at the time. So like, that's the hard part now for a lot of people when you engage in conversations. People are so like defined the stuff that they looked at. And I'm like, dude, it's kind of like science. It evolves. Now it's never like, journalism isn't about what's real. It's about what's going to get seen. So it's very,
It's a tragedy.
It's very, very hard because I've even done stuff now where I've done research where I debunked what I said and then it got re-unbunked back to being real.
Right.
So it's like now for podcast stuff, like I always say, take everything with a grain of salt. You know, do your own fucking research because you guys might write here later on. People might catch this podcast a month later and they're like, well, why'd you say that? Because at the time it was true.
Yeah.
So we don't actually know. We're only saying stuff that we've kind of seen right now and we're kind of discussing it in real time.
We can only talk about what we know. And from what I know, it is upsetting. Like, let's say Verizon had a government contract where something with the telecommunication satellites, right? And so Verizon was contracted to do that. And then it turned into when Elon Musk was going through all of that budgeting, he canceled that contract. And then all of a sudden, Starlink gets that contract. Now, look, Starlink, yes, is technology-wise a great...
Yeah.
You know, I think it's better than Verizon, I would say, just by optics alone.
Yeah.
But that's literally a conflict of interest, is
Yeah.
it not?
They were talking about that too, especially like the government thing of like they contracted a bunch of like cyber trucks to be made and shit. It's like,
$400 million worth.
Yeah.
And then another thing, like on Fox News with Trump sitting next to him, he blatantly starts saying, we could have went up and saved 2 astronauts, but the Biden administration refused to rescue them because of political reasons. And then Trump's like, what?
Yeah.
Tell me about this.
Yeah.
And then he's like, 2 astronauts got stuck up there because of the Blue Origin rocket or whatever failed or something.
They've been up there for a year, I think, or close to
8 months.
Yeah.
So it was supposed to be 8 days, right? And then because of the other rocket couldn't do it, they said, okay, then the next launch we have with the SpaceX rocket, we'll bring you back home and it'll be in 8 months. And the astronauts were like, awesome. They've been training their whole lives for this, and they're only given 8 days on the space station. And they're like, oh, we get to be here for 8 months.
Yeah.
These are astronauts.
Yeah.
This is what they fucking do. They want to be in space. And then he keeps saying that they're stuck up there. They're marooned at the space station. How horrifying. And then they do a live interview. Like, it's great. We love it. We're working. We're doing research. We're not like wasting time. We're not stowaways. And we're contracted to be picked up from SpaceX in 8 months.
Yeah.
And he's saying, Biden for political reasons. But why? So they can do an not unorganized, unscheduled launch that's going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars straight into SpaceX's pockets. It's like, we know you can save them, but you behaved this way when the kids in Thailand got stuck in the cave. You called the guy that actually rescued them, he called him a pedophile.
Yeah.
For rescuing the kids. Oh, you must be weird to want to save kids.
Yeah.
But you were trying to save them too, but because you didn't get to do it and get the credit, you called out the guy a pedophile. And what does Elon Musk do this time? The commander of the International Space Station says, Elon, that's not true. You know that we have it scheduled out for, in 8 months. And then he says, you are retard. He calls an astronaut a retard?
Yeah.
And then another former astronaut who is, what is it, John Glenn? Something Glenn Scott? I forget. He's, I think, a senator now. And then he called him, you're a retard too.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, this guy was a military Air Force like pilot and / astronaut. And you're calling the people who have the fucking guts to get into your rockets to go up there that you haven't even actually done.
Yeah.
You call them retards? Like, that's fucked up. That is retarded behavior.
Yeah.
That is autism, Asperger's. Hey, shut the fuck up, little boy.
Yeah.
Behavior. Like, and he's acting like a baby in that way.
Like, see, and it's so weird too, because now as like an audience, because like there's no like definitive, like I wish like there was some type of like middle ground, right? Because like it's like Elon saying this, and they're saying that. It's like somebody has to be right and wrong, right? And it doesn't seem like Elon's the right one.
No.
But then what happens is like when you have like discourse like this, people who are already like, this is what I'm saying when I said early on, you can say two things can be true at once. he could be doing great things with DOGE, but there can also be a lot of stupid shit he's doing at the same time. But the problem with that is that nobody wants to see both. They can only go here or they can only go here, right? So it's like, where do we get to a point where there's like, I feel like there's no more bipartisan issues anymore. It's always just here and here. And I'm like, I wonder like if it's just going to be like this forever now. And
there are people in the Senate, Republicans and Democrats, AOC and another lady from Florida. See, I'm biased because I only know AOC's name.
Yeah.
But they're working together, but that's not going to make the headlines.
Yeah.
Because we're all what are we talking about? We're talking about the news.
Yeah.
It's only going to give us, what they think people want to see.
The only thing I want to see now, and like the reason why I'm just very distant from this is that and it sounds very destructive of me, but it's like, hey, do all the antics that you want, but you better deliver on everything that you're saying.
Deliver.
So if you don't deliver, then fuck you, because I've just been like, it's not like I don't feel it, you know what I mean? But now it's just like, okay, I'm tired. You better deliver because you're doing crazy shit right now, right? So you better deliver on all the stuff that you're going to say, because if not, then it's all for nothing. You know what I mean? Like people are taking a chance. So it's like, well, what do we do from after this then?
I think the wisest thing for us to do is wait for him to do his shit and see what comes out of it, right? But if in the first month he's getting all these government contracts, he's enriching his pockets, then that's where I'm like, dude, why didn't you get Vivek to do this then?
Yeah, I think that was like the big red flag for me, because Vivek wanted to do things from what he said. He wanted to do it through governmental,
through the Senate,
through
the
the Senate,
way it's supposed to be done
legally. And then he leaves. I'm like, uh-oh. I'm like, what happened here?
I think they were saying, well,
he wanted to run for office.
Well, optically, for Elon to be the face of that just ran better, I think.
I don't give a fuck who the face of it is. Just fucking fix whatever state you're going to fix.
And then Jon Stewart proposes, why didn't you just look at the military budget day one?
Yeah.
You could have saved $400 billion, I bet.
Yeah.
You could have looked at the Pentagon. You could have looked at FBI and CIA. But you went to the 1% of our tax dollars.
Yeah.
Saving us each collectively possibly $2.
Yeah.
Per citizen. But not the military.
Yeah.
Like, dude, what are you picking and choosing? Why are you choosing to hurt actual people's lives?
Yeah.
Like I said, you can feel one way or another about USAID or USAID. Me being a missionary, I've seen the work that comes through there.
Yeah.
I've seen even conservative Christian Republicans needed USAID to do the missionary work that they're doing in different countries, like Samaritan Purse, like all the shit that we do to help other people, whether it's feed them or bring medicine and all these things. We just said, screw them, screw the rest of the world. Your government, your country should have been responsible for you. I can't argue against that.
Yeah.
Okay, then fine. But at the same time, then we're looking internally at us. USAID, once again, is not exactly us. It's everybody else.
Yeah.
Now let's look inside our own books. Let's look at the military. Let's look at the
This is what I'm saying too. It's like, fine. If the idea of it is like America first, right? Okay. As an American citizen, I can understand that, right? But I better see it, right? Because if you say that and nothing changes, and then whatever the philanthropic work that we were doing disappears, then we just literally just fucked everybody then. So it's like, if we take away all this other stuff, right, which is a very small portion of the budget, and nothing changes then we're still in the same issue of where's the money, right?
Right.
And now it's like the collateral damage of all the stuff that's happening is what? Stocks have plummeted, crypto plummeted, all this other stuff, right? Like the tariff war stuff, whatever's happening. Like I don't talk about tariff stuff because I haven't looked into it. I don't even know what the fuck is going on with that. I understand the general concept of why the tariffs, of what they're saying it's supposed to do, and it's a very long game plan. The only thing, and I wonder if people can explain this to me online, it's like, I think the idea of the tariffs makes sense depending if the American citizens are on board, right? Yeah. So what I mean by that is like, okay, we want to bring X amount of type of jobs back to this country. Now the question is the culture of this country willing to accept that this is the jobs that they want to do?
Yeah.
That's where I'm concerned, right? We want to bring factory work. And if I ask a crowd of young people, who's ready to do factory work? If it's zero, then who's going to do these jobs?
Robots.
Yeah. So like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's the other, and by the way, I'm oversimplifying this right now because I don't understand it. So if somebody wants to explain this concept to me, by all means, I'm all ears, right? So that's what the purported idea of it is, like, hey, yo, look, we're going to bring these jobs back to the States. Cool. Now I'm thinking, who wants to do these jobs? Even if it pays well, will they want to do this job? Because the American people have to be on board with that. Because a lot of the manual labor stuff that they're talking about that we're outsourcing or whatever, if we bring that production back here, do we have people who want to do it? And are they going to do it well is the issue. So I know that there has been conversations about like companies who have hired, you know, they're like, okay, we'll bite the bullet. We have to hire these people here. And they all suck. They're fucking terrible at their jobs.
Yeah.
And you guys know that I'm actually in manufacturing.
It's hard to find good help. That's what I hear these days.
So let me just give you guys a little bit of insight about this in terms of, you know, because I do clothing. You guys, you know, when you guys hear like things are American made and then there's a hefty price tag on it, right? The reason why there's a hefty price tag is because it just costs more to make it in the States, right? We all know that. Here's the other flip side that you don't know about this. It's not only because Secret Society does a lot of stuff in-house, right? Which is cool. Inside the United States, domestically made. But the hard part about that is too, the American-made stuff are made 10 times worse. And I bet you guys didn't even know that shit.
Craftsmanship's not a
thing. The craftsmanship is terrible.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff that we get, like 30% of it, is just garbage. You know what the percentage is overseas stuff? It's like 2%. It's so much smaller. It's unreal. It's because they do it at a higher volume and they do it way fucking better. Yeah. So sometimes when you guys see stuff, oh, it's like this clothing was made in Bangladesh. You know why? Because they do it better. Not just because it's cheaper. They literally do it better.
Yeah.
So this is why I thought about the concern about getting American-made stuff here. Are we also going to change the culture of what hard work is here? Because the hard work culture here has kind of died out from what I've seen being a business owner, right? People want all the glory and none of the hard work. And a hard day of work isn't even looked as a good thing. They go, you're wasting your life away, which I understand. We all want to do these great things. But if we are going to bring it back to the States, does this generation or like people understand what hard work is and are they going to do a good job? And is it going to gear towards that way? Technology is happening right now. Look at movies and film. I don't even fucking know we're going to have actors in the next like 20 years.
Yeah. Dude, watching the Oscars, I only saw Dune 2 out of all the other nominations.
I want to talk about that too. Ed, like how little of a shit have I given about so many films now?
Yeah.
Right?
And theater culture has died.
Theater culture, skill has died. People don't care. And you know what? This is the thing too, right? I get asked this a lot, like in DMs. Like I barely check DMs, but you know, once a month I'll go through, and I, you know, usually grab topics from people asking things and stuff, right? But one of the biggest things that people have asked recently in the last like years, like when are you going to go back into acting? Do you want to go back into acting? Are you auditioning, whatever, whatnot? And the answer to that most likely is no. And the reason why is because number one, I already talked about the politics side and the dirty side of Hollywood, which I just don't ever want to be a part of. I get. The other part is that I just think that there are so many bad actors, right? I'm not saying I'm a great actor, right? But what I'm saying now is that when you take an art form that's supposed to be about the art itself, and I only say that too because that's what all these actors say when they're being interviewed. Oh, do you know this film? Like I hate it when like actors get interviewed. They go, "What are your 3 favorite films?" It's like some obscure French. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Just say Jurassic Park. It's cool.
Dude, it's cool. It's fucking cool.
Yeah.
It's so funny because you'll hear directors get interviewed and there's art house films, but it's like films we know.
Yeah.
But it's always the actor that has to bring some obscure film that probably like 100 people have watched.
Yeah.
And they go, this right here. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Yeah. You're just saying it because it's so old and like you're cool because you know about it.
And guess what? There was like a video where they were interviewing, and I looked at some of these films because they have it. Some on Amazon Prime or whatever. Garbage. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Garbage. Garbage film. Absolute garbage. Don't give a fuck.
Are you talking about the recent nominees?
It was like last year.
Right.
Where they were interviewing them, asking them for film. I saw these films.
Right.
Terrible.
Some of the old ones.
Fucking terrible, dude. They're like, at the time. Doesn't matter at the time. I'm not at the time now.
Right.
You're fucking stupid.
Yeah, there's no way I'm popping in Godfather just because.
Yeah.
For the entertainment value.
There was somebody that put a silent film in there. And I was like, come on.
The only
black and white silent film from like fucking the 1950s. Fuck out of here.
Like one of the most important films to me is a movie called Metropolis. It's just silent film. I don't recommend it to anyone.
Yeah.
There's an anime adaptation that came out, which is animated really well. That's also boring. Yeah. You know? But it's an important story.
Yeah.
Because that's where Terminator, Matrix, all this science fiction came from. It came from a movie from 100 fucking years ago.
Yeah.
This German movie. But like I said, I don't say, yeah, Metropolis is my number. Like, because you're not going to like it either. And I'll look like a fucking ass.
Yeah.
Not a savant.
It's the culture of bullshit now, right? And so, like, even now, too, like, when I see a lot of these, like, younger actors and they're like, oh, this is the top actors. Like, this is what we got. They're not even that good. They're like, okay, at best. Right? But then when I hear them talk about shit, it's like, oh, you like being an actor. You don't like acting.
I think the only good, like, legitimate Best Actor awards come from the SAG-AFTRA.
Yeah.
Because that's their actual acting peers. But when it comes to the Oscars, that's still very political about who wins. It's like, show your tits, and
Dude,
you can win the Oscar.
People were pissed about the Zoe Saldana nod.
Right.
They were fucking. I haven't seen it, so I have nothing to say. But it's like apparently people hated that movie, and they're like, "Why the fuck did this happen? This is crazy." Over fucking Wicked, which everybody was talking about.
Right.
Which people said was like the best like film adaptation of a theater thing. You know,
like I love musicals, and Dan was like, "Yo, you got to see that too." I just haven't. Is Wicked that great?
Oh, I didn't see it.
Okay, yeah. So
that's why I didn't give a shit about the Oscars.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, because I didn't see, I don't really have an opinion.
Yeah.
So to see Dune 2 not win is like makes me more or less think, okay, there's some films I need to check out.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they won their
better than Dune 2
technological
then.
awards. Yeah, it better be better than Dune 2 because Dune 2 fucking was a theater fucking experience. Like, of what was it? It came out last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and maybe that's us being like too engulfed in what epic mainstream movies are these days or whatever. But just as a storytelling, do I want to say device?
Just like a mechanism.
It's great. Super. I really fucking loved it. But if the dude who he won Best Director, Best Picture, Best Editing, the one guy who did it,
Yeah.
Anora.
Yeah.
I definitely want to check that out then.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, there are some times where even with movies I loved, where you saw Jamie Lee Curtis won Best Supporting Actress.
Yeah.
Like I loved Everything Everywhere at Once.
Yeah.
I didn't think
Best Supporting Actress.
Best Supporting Actress. So clearly, it's political. It's like, oh, she's old now.
Yeah.
We should give her one.
That's the other part too. Like the politics of it all is something I really, really dislike.
Yeah.
And so like, I'll put it out there too. Like, do I want to act? I like acting. I enjoy it. But the hard part for, I think like maybe people don't understand is that, what I was told in a nicer way was basically beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah.
And my response was, I'm not a beggar.
Right.
Like, I don't care about recognition. I don't care about the money. So what are you offering me when you send me a script? Something I want to be in. Right. And that's the difference. And I think that was like the frustrating part for agents when they were talking to me. It's like, oh, you got to do anything to get your foot in the door to show people you can act.
Right.
I did a Sundance film. What the fuck else do you need? You're telling me I can't do this thing that has 2 lines?
You got to do, the groveling that everyone else is doing.
And I just refuse to do it.
Yeah, you got to play the game that everyone else is doing.
And just to put it in perspective, right? One of the biggest reasons why like that Blake Lively shit pissed me off so much was reading her text. Go, if you guys want to know what it's like to have a conversation with somebody in Hollywood, read the Blake Lively text between her and Justin Baldoni.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for protecting my light. Phrases like that.
Yeah.
That is how all of them talk.
Yeah.
And it used to piss me off to no fucking end. What you're doing for thank you for being so respectful of this. Like, it's the most disgusting, fictitious type of conversation. That is how they talk in real life. Because they feel like that is how you're supposed to. Everybody at that level talks like that, right?
Yeah.
And you see it in interviews. That's why I like actors who get old because they stop giving a shit about that. They're like, I don't want to play this game anymore. Do you hear Denzel Washington talk like that?
Right.
Denzel Washington don't got to talk like that. And I bet you he didn't do that in the beginning either because he didn't have to.
Yeah.
But somehow in between all this other stuff, there was some type of corruption and evil, which was like, oh, if you suck my dick, I'll let you do this. And it became a type of the vernacular and the lexicon of what it takes to be in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And now it's this weird, it's like you're in a Black Mirror episode. And I'm not exaggerating this. I'm not saying this from an outside perspective. I'm telling you that's what it's like. You'll see it. Oh, God, like what you did with this character. Oh, my God. It's like, you talk like that all the time? You're just sucking me off right now.
Yeah, and it's the ego that gets in the way of so many people where they would rather hurt the project so that they get the credit for it.
Yeah.
Like I've been in an editing room where I'm talking to the producer of this. I'm like, yo, just fundamentally and starting to end visually, all of this, we need to have it this way. And then he's like, well, I'm the producer and I'm your boss, so you're going to do what I say.
Yeah.
I was like, but I just told you why that's not going to help. He's like, I don't care. Do it because I said so. And that's where I'm like, fuck this place.
Yeah.
Fuck this shit. We're not on the same team.
Yeah.
You're on your own team. You don't even give a shit about the project we're doing. Mm-hmm. That's where I was coming along with why I want to quit editing and shit. It's because I have to care about the project for me to edit it. And when I don't care about it, I can't edit it well.
Yeah.
And then all the other people involved with the project don't give a shit about the project.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to learn, okay, how do I cut myself emotionally from a project? Then it's, give C+ work.
Yeah.
and don't care about it and do shitty work.
And look, at the corporate level of things too, like you guys understand this as well. Like we've had to deal with, I'll give you a great example. This is the reason why when I do brand deals, I don't get burned anymore. So I did a brand deal years ago with a TBS, right? And this wasn't TBS's fault per se, but it was the people who were hired. And this was like a big life lesson for me. And I've never made the same mistake ever since. So TBS did a show, like a talk show with Pete Holmes. And it got canceled, right? It didn't do that well. It wasn't that great. But they were supposed to send me a media package of what the show was going to be about, who he was or whatever, right? And they only told me this after the fact, and I had no idea. So the correspondent that I was talking to, I was like, what? I was like, oh, you're just going to make it fun and ask him questions, right? That motherfucker, and I wish I remembered his name so I could blast you out, you piece of shit, was supposed to give me this media packet I never received. Didn't even know I was supposed to receive one. So when I went there, I was like, hey, so do you know what we're supposed to do? And Pete Holmes looked at me like I was an idiot. And he was like, well, that's your job. And I'm like, no, I was told that I'm just supposed to hear, like ask you fun questions and talk. He goes, you were supposed to get a media kit. I was like, Pete, I never got one. Like, that's why I'm asking you. And he looked visibly irritated. And I got irritated at him because I was like, no fucking, I was like, oh, fuck, what the fuck? Like, I just got you getting mad at me for, right? And so I just like was super disinterested with him. I was pissed at him. Arguably, probably not rightfully so, but it's just like the way he came at me was wrong. Yeah. Right? And so to him, he probably didn't even remember me, but to me, it was fucking annoying. So I went back. I was like, hey, talking to my correspondent, like, hey, I was supposed to get a media kit? Apologizes to me or whatever. The week after, I get a thing of saying that I was unprofessional on set, that I wasn't prepared and ready. I was like, oh, what did you tell him? Yeah. And so I had to go back and show the emails like, hey, he didn't send me a media kit, and they never responded back because they knew they were wrong. Yeah. So that guy was trying to protect his job by throwing me under the bus. Yeah. And after that, I was like, so this is how this works. Nobody gives a shit here. They don't give a fuck. They're just trying to protect their own ass.
No personal responsibility.
None of that. So recently I did something not too long ago, about a year ago, where there was another brand deal and went to this whole event thing, and they basically fucked me hard. They weren't prepared for me to be there. Nobody knew who I was. I was getting pushed around. They were treating me like I wasn't supposed to be there. I had a VIP pass and everything. And so I went in, I texted my correspondent where I was, at what time, what was happening, got everybody's name who fucking disrespected the shit out of me. So I get an email from the company saying that, hey, whatever you sent us is not enough. You didn't get X, Y, and Z footage, blah, blah, blah. Cool. Logged everything. First, last names, what happened. Boom. Text message, sent it all. And they were just dumbfounded. I got an email back apologizing. They're like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry that you were treated that way. I was like, yeah. And the reason why I recorded this is because I know one of your employees told me that I was unprofessional. And I told first and last name, but we're going to talk to them. Right? Don't know what happened to their job, but I guarantee they don't work there. Yeah. That's what you get for trying to fuck with me. right? And so I have to do these things now because I learned from one event how people work. They're only looking out for their ass.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I'm the expendable one here. So basically I told him, I was like, look, I'm glad to work with you guys again. Fine, but the price is now double. Like, it's double, and even if it's out of your budget and you want to pay me the same one, I don't want it because I was treated like shit, and then you guys tried to burn me on this.
Yeah.
And so they were just super hyper apologetic. I was like, and they know too. I told them I'm a professional. I don't ever do a job shitty. I showed up on time. I showed up early. I got everything prepped, and I still got treated like shit.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like how it works, like in like all these like rooms too in Hollywood. They're gonna say the right things to you. They're going to mimic and mirror everything that you like, but behind your back, they're saying terrible things if their job is on the line. Yeah. And I don't like that shit. So we're pretty much done.
You can't change that culture.
You can't. It's impossible.
Yeah, it's not the military, you know? It's just the way people are going to be. And that's where cancel culture was birthed out of. People were just like, that guy was a fucking asshole, da da da. And then some of us feel like, oh, thank God that guy was a piece of shit. And then there's all these fucking strays that get caught and get canceled for no good reason, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what the craziest thing, as this thing was happening like a year ago, the guy that was a camera guy that was with me, he didn't understand what I was doing. He was like, well, what are you doing? Why are you logging all this stuff? I was like, wait, you'll see. Watch. This is going to come bite us in the ass. Watch. Just watch. Right? And he didn't get it. And then when he got the email, he goes, oh, shit, you were right. I was like, I know this shit so fucking well. Like, I know it. Yeah. And he was like, holy shit, you're right. These people are trying to burn you. I was like, yep, because somebody's going to lose their job, and it's not going to be me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to do that shit. And my correspondent didn't know why I was texting them a timestamp, where I was at, and sending them pictures. They didn't know. Right. Because what if I just sent that no pictures? Then it's just my word for theirs. But guess what? What if I sent you video and pictures? Mm-hmm. Selfie like this. I'm here at this spot. Here at this spot. Right? Nothing.
Right.
And you didn't think that I was going to go to your boss above you and send it to them? You know? So it's like, I've gotten burned so bad. Even this late in my career, people still try to burn you like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't you know who the fuck I am? Like, not in terms of like celebrity status, but how like vindictive I am.
Yeah.
Like, don't fuck with me. Like, don't do that shit. Because I'm recording everything. So it's like, you know, even in this, like, when I don't want to be a part of it, I get a little and it happens again. And I'm like, this is not the stress that I want to live in. I'm tired of watching like actors do interviews now because it's just the fakest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Gosh.
I hate it.
It's horrible because when they're doing the interview, they're still not themselves.
Yeah.
They're acting like they're interested in this interview.
Girls do this, like girl actresses do this the best.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
The wicked press conferences, like, oh.
Oh my God, what are you wearing?
Oh.
Right? And it's like, I wonder why.
Yeah.
Like, stop doing this. It's just nonsense. And like I said, I'm not done with acting. Like, if somebody has a project, even if it's not paid, if it's a sick fucking script and I know that the director has a dope eye, I'll do it for free.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. I would love to act in something amazing.
Yeah.
Just show me that you're going to shoot it well and it's going to look good, right? It could be low budget. I don't give a fuck. Gook was low budget as fuck.
Yeah.
But it was an amazing project to be a part of.
I'll tell you what I appreciate about this last Oscars was when they got to like costume design, set design, production, all of that stuff. They brought in the celebrities to give praises to those craftswomen. I thought that was dope.
Yeah.
You know, because and they didn't have to say that to the director or, you know, things like that. Like, you don't have to suck up to them or to the actors or whatever.
Yeah.
So I really appreciated how they were really lifting up the behind the scenes people who they're not, you know, the on camera type of people.
You 100%. I fucking love that shit. Well, guys, that wraps up this episode of the Genius Brain Podcast.
Hey, we went over an hour.
Hell yeah. We could, you guys could see us every Sundays at 12 p.m. Let us know what you think about DOGE, Elon Musk. If the lies are really lies or did we fuck it up? I just want to know what you guys think.
We won't know until the midterms.
Yeah.
By people's votes and how happy they are.
We could be wrong, and I hope we're wrong. By the way, I really hope 100%. We're wrong.
Yeah, because then all of this fucking anger and this will be for naught. Yeah. We want it to be okay. We want our country to succeed.
Yeah. Genius Brain every Sundays at 12 p.m. You can catch Ed at Ed Park VP and also Manga Miata. Check him out on his updates with his cars, and we'll see you all next time. Peace.